Listen carefully. In a time wrapped in mystery, long before history was written and names were carved into stone, two nations stood side by side. They were not friends. They were not even enemies. But suddenly, there was war. They did not go to war because of hatred. They went to war because of land. A land that fed the hungry. A land that made the weak powerful. A land that decided who would rise and who would disappear. As pride grew, secrets began to surface. Whispers turned into plans. Plans turned into actions. Fates were sealed. Hope was crushed. And once the first decision was made, there was no turning back. This is the story of Eberu and Daganor. This is how peace was buried. And war was born. It was the year 1573.
In a time long before kings ruled Eberu. Across the valley, life moved slowly, marked by the rising and setting of the sun, the flow of rivers, and the cycle of planting and harvest. People carried shields made of leather, swords forged from iron, and wore simple cloth and leather armor. Horses pulled wagons, and messengers ran on foot between villages. To the east lay Eberu, green and full of life, where farmers tilled the soil and traders walked the roads. To the west lay Daganor, strong and proud, with stone temples and bronze idols. A land of fierce warriors. Between them lay a strip of fertile plains called Nokoro. Nokoro had rich soil, sparkling rivers, and forests that supplied wood and game. Both Eberu and Daganor claimed it. Both wanted it. And both knew that whoever controlled Nokoro would hold an advantage in trade, food, and power. One year, the signs of trouble came early. The river running through Nokoro was lower than usual. Streams became like shallow pools. Fish vanished. Birds that fed along the riverbank flew away. Farmers whispered among themselves, "The rain will not come this year." Even before the river ran completely dry, the elders of Eberu noticed the danger. Traders reported quieter markets. Families worried about food. And the chief priest, the highest authority in Eberu, saw what others feared but could not say aloud. Daganor would see these signs as weakness, and they would move to take Nokoro. The chief priest climbed the steps of the great temple and struck his staff on the stone floor thrice. The sound carried across the village. "All elders of Eberu," he called. "Come forth." Land cries. The rivers shrink. Nokoro, the heart of our valley, may soon fall to Daganor if we do not act. Elders arrived from every village. They bowed before the priest, carrying lists of men of fighting age, scrolls of grain stores, and worry in their eyes. "Peace has served us well," said the chief priest, "but peace alone will not protect Nokoro. We must train more hands, gather more warriors, and prepare our defenses." Eberu had 3,000 trained warriors, but Daganor had more. Their men were stronger, their weapons sharper, and their horses faster. Every male from 16 to 40, the chief priest declared, will report for training. Families, honor this command. Our land and our people depend on it. In the villages, parents hugged their children, whispered prayers into their ears, and packed them food for the march. Young men left fields, workshops, and homes to join the training grounds. The training grounds were vast, dusty plains outside the villages. Men swung wooden swords, raised shields, and practiced information. Horses were trained to respond to riders' commands. Blacksmiths sharpened swords, repaired shields, and packed wagons with provisions. Soldiers drilled all day and even into the night. Fires burned to light the way for night exercises. Trainers shouted commands, left, right, duck, strike, protect the flank. The sound of shields clanging, swords hitting stone, and horses stomping echoed across the valley. By the time the army was ready to march, Eberu's forces numbered over 5,000, equipped with swords, shields, spears, bows, and horses. Families waved from the roads, children clinging to parents, mothers crying, fathers standing proud and silent. Finally, the army moved toward Nokoro. The chief priest led them, staff in hand, banners fluttering in the wind. Soldiers marched in neat lines, dust rising beneath their feet like clouds. "Go with courage," the chief priest said, voice carrying over the ranks. "Fight for your families, your land, and your honor. Remember, the chest of dominion is with us. Our ancestors' power walks by our side." Across Nokoro, Daganor scouts watched the approaching army. They whispered among themselves, "They come. Brave, yes, but will it be enough?" And so, the stage was set. Two lands. One sacred plain. The war was about to begin. As the Eberu army moved into Nokoro, the soldiers were tense but proud. Dust rose beneath their feet, banners fluttered, and the sound of marching echoed across the valley. Little did they know, the Daganor scouts had spotted them first. Some farmers, perched on the hills, saw the long line of men moving toward Nokoro. They ran to the villages, waving arms and shouting, "The army of Eberu is coming." They marched on Nokoro. The alarm spread like wildfire. Daganor soldiers had been trained to respond quickly. Within hours, 10,000 soldiers, twice the number of Eberu's 5,000, marched into formation. Shields clanged, banners flew, and horns sounded across the hills. Eberu's leaders saw an opportunity. "If we strike from the hills," said one, "we may catch them by surprise." Soldiers took positions, hiding behind trees, rocks, and ridges. Arrows were readied, swords drawn, hearts pounding. The first clash was fierce. Dust swirled in the air, arrows whistled, shields crashed. For a brief moment, it seemed Eberu might succeed. Farmers watching from afar whispered in hope. But Daganor's army was disciplined and alert. They shifted formations, blocked the attack, and pressed forward with overwhelming force. Their numbers were too great, their training too sharp. By the end of the day, Eberu's army lay scattered across Nokoro, bloodied and broken. 4,000 soldiers had fallen. Families back in the villages wept. Fields were trampled. Horses lay fallen in the dust. Even though Eberu had tried to ambush Daganor, their courage and preparation could not overcome sheer numbers and experience. Daganor's victory was decisive, their dominance clear. Night fell on Nokoro, but sleep did not come. The plains were quiet in a way that felt wrong. Broken shields lay in the grass. Spears stuck out of the ground like dead trees. Fires burned low, where wounded men lay, groaning, calling the names of their mothers, their wives, their children. The Eberu army retreated to their camp in shame. Out of 5,000 men who marched into Nokoro, 4,000 had fallen. Only a few returned without wounds. Many dragged injured legs. Some carried their friends on their backs. Others returned empty-handed, eyes hollow, spirits crushed. In the camp, there was no singing. No drums. Only crying. Mothers and wives who had followed at a distance now found bodies instead of sons. Brothers searched among the wounded. Children clung to strangers, asking questions no one could answer. That night, the leaders of Eberu gathered again. The chief priest sat in silence, his staff resting on the ground. Around him were the elders, their faces pale, their voices low. We prepared, one elder said. We trained. We planned. We even tried to strike first. And still, we lost. Daganor is too strong, another said. Their army is too many. Their men do not tire. A long silence followed. Then one elder spoke softly, almost afraid of his own words. We have not brought the chest of dominion. The others looked at him. That chest, he continued, has never gone into battle and returned defeated. Our fathers carried it. Their fathers carried it. When it stood among them, they stood strong. The chief priest lifted his head. The chest is not a weapon, he said slowly. It is a sign. A reminder of the power that stands above men. But we are dying, another elder said. If we do nothing, Nokoro will fall completely. Our farms. Our rivers. Our people. The camp outside echoed with cries of pain. At last, the chief priest spoke again. Send for the chest.